Hello, 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 hello. Welcome to the Business Plugs Mixer. So, hello, Facebook, hello, YouTube, and hello, LinkedIn. How are you all this Sunday evening? So, I have been disappearing. Did y'all miss me? I'm back. I am back. I did take a couple of weeks to kind of get some regrouping done, but I'm back now. And I'm excited about today's show because you're going to learn something about yourself that you hadn't even thought about, like I didn't. And so we're going to talk about that. But before we get to that, I want to do two things. I want to tell you one, if you would like to get on the Business Plugs Mixer, there's a link in wherever you're watching this. Also, while you're watching it, go ahead and click subscribe and click follow the bells over on YouTube so you'll know that when we're on. And then second to that, I am giving you an opportunity to sample my 12-week course. So we're going into week 4. But if you would like to sample to see if it's something that fits what you do, it's all about business education. It is the Kaufman Foundation's online business curriculum. It's a 12-week course. We take deep dives into business. This past weekend, we did positioning, and we talked about how our business owners will build their customer profiles, how they build their competitive profiles. Before that, we talked about marketing. We talked about what it's like being a business owner, and they were able to hone in on their attributes and know how they're going to plan out their business. So all of this leads to a business plan at the end, a submittable business plan. When you do the homework, it counts toward building the 9-block canvas that builds your business structure for your business model. So that's what we're doing. And this Saturday, we're actually diving into the first parts of the business model, the 9-step canvas. So if you're interested in that, the information again is in the description of this video, wherever you're watching us. That's all the housekeeping. I've got it all done. And so now it's time for me to introduce you to my new friend, Katie. So hello, Katie.
Hi, Linda.
Please introduce yourself to my friends on these media platforms.
Yeah, I'm Katie L. Eades. I am the founder and chief owl at Outstanding Women Leaders, Owl Professional Coaching and Podcast. We give a hoot about human design and humor too. And that is me, executive coaching, human coaching. I don't coach for a problem to be solved. We coached for a life well lived.
I
And
love
that
it.
starts with your soul being stirred to action.
Absolutely, absolutely. So thank you for joining me for your yes, because this evidently was meant for you. Because again, I'm in an open Sunday, right? And so I invited you to come on because human design intrigues me. Like human design, I'm just intrigued because so many things that you told me about, like it felt like you were talking to me. And so tell us about human design. Introduce that concept to my audience.
Yeah, well, I think the most important thing to know about human design is it's not a belief system. Okay, so it's an invitation to experiment in a way that God designed you. Like, God designed the planets? He designed a very intelligent design. So as the planets shift, there's these little pieces of particles we can't see that contain mass. Mass carries information. It's called a neutrinos. And as that stream flows, as the planet shifts, so does the stream, and it leaves an imprint. So when you say you feel the planets, you are feeling those shifts. When you say you feel the retrograde, some people experience it differently depending on their imprint from time of birth. And then going back 3 months prior to that, that's when the neocortex is formed in the womb. And that's when the unconscious personality is formed.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what I love about human design is it gives you a chance to stop denying the gifts that your creator has given you and just embrace them and to follow your natural flow of your water. And if something doesn't resonate with you, it's not a belief system, so you toss it out. But every single person that I've encountered with it as I in my work, it resonates. It's like someone is seeing them. As you said, I felt like you can see me. And
Yeah.
it gives me such a beautiful insight into who my clients are. And my gift here on earth is to hear others' hearts and to bring the flow of diversity into the world.
Mm.
And every individual is the exception to the rule. It doesn't get more diverse than honoring who you are individually.
Yeah, yeah. And so you and I talked about how all of this is based, and you actually took some of the things about me that we talked about yesterday. And so tell us about the history of this train of thought.
Yeah, so in 1992, the founder Ra had a lot of people had some insights in 1992, and he had a download. He heard a voice and wrote out for 3 days what this system has become. And what's interesting about that is around that same time frame, we also discovered there are 40,000 neurons in our heart. We have a heart brain. Our heart independently thinks, feels, remembers, emotes. If we transplant that heart into someone else, they will have their taste buds change, their hobbies will change. 2 murders have been solved from heart transplants,
Mm,
memories. That is how powerful the heart is. And it gives off an electromagnetic field. And that's that energy we feel when we walk in the room and we know there's tension. We
mm,
feel that just like we feel the love when we walk into a room, and we can really send energy through our heart. Our hearts are talking all the time.
mm-hmm.
95% of communication is not being spoken with words. And if we start to listen to that, it allows our soul to speak so that our heart can start directing our minds. And so human design is another tool that allows you again to come home to yourself. We go to experts for everything. God said, "No, I made you in my image."
Yeah,
In you is those drops of the divine. Those are the superpowers, is what I like to call them.
I like it.
And so it's a relatively new information system, and it's who we are without conditioning. You're just giving me your birth date and time in the world, and look right and location, and from there we're able to see what you're meant to do.
Mm. And you know why that's important? Because a lot of people are wondering, like they feel misaligned with how they're living their lives. And so you're bringing clarity and understanding to why they may be feeling like they're off kilter.
Yeah. So for you, example, your open G center. If I would say, if you gone around life saying, "What's my purpose? Who should I go to tell me my purpose? Where will I find my purpose? Are you my purpose? Who will love me? Where will I go to find love? Are you the person to tell me where to find love?" The Open G Center is not here to have a fixed identity. In fact, the rest of us are here. What are we supposed to do? Unidentify so that we can be closer to God. You are born without an identity, so you can feel others, you can
Mm,
sense others. You know when other people are sound in their own identities.
yeah.
But if you're living your not self, then you're going to be looking for it under all the rocks, wondering where it is.
Oh, that's powerful. That's powerful because a lot of times, like especially in the work I do, right? Because I do coaching and consulting and counseling and all that other stuff. Um, but because of that, it is important for me to be in tune with my clients.
Mm-hmm. So a couple of things that you'll have to note then about your profile as we will, you have a defined route. So you know when the right time is to get things done and when the right time is to say, "I need more contemplation." Your
Mm,
clients for an open route, and it's a 50-50 shot, they are going to feel pressure to get things off their list, but it may not really be what they want. And so feeling that pressure from your route, if you're really listening and tuned into them, you're going to hit it in the right way where they're going to
absolutely.
finally feel empowered to take action. So I have a few open route friends who are like, "Every time I'm around you, I go and I do a thing after we talk." That's my superpower. Simply by you and myself, because we have the same channel, simply by being who we are, we empower people to take action that they would have not otherwise taken.
I know it. You know, after people meet with me for the first time, normally they say, "Linda, I couldn't sleep. You have put a spark under me, and my brain is churning, and I can't sleep." And so, and I've had couples to come to my classes and things, and to walk away and say, "We didn't go to bed for like until way up in the morning because we were trying to go through everything you told us, because I get the downloads to see what it is they need. And
Yeah.
I have the gift of holding people's potential before they get it, before they actually understand what it is.
Yeah. So you and I both also we have defined heads and anjas, which is 30% of the population. Linda and I literally think differently than 70% of
Can
you,
you say that again?
which is we
Can you
think
say that
differently than 70% of people. And so when you meet one of us or two of us in a room, sparks are going to fly. Most of our ideas are not for us, they're for you. And that is why we are in the roles we're in.
I love it. Like
Yeah.
even that, just that, because I just yesterday I post I'm different. I'm always trying to remind people that I'm different. And because people will try to put you in a box, right? And they say, oh, well, I went to see this person, that person, they told me whatever. And I'm saying, this is not that. This is not book learning. This is who I am.
Yeah. And so it really is. And in that defined head, you have a different channel than I do define. So right now we're like filling all of the channels in. So energetically, this is important when you work with clients, is that you create a quantum energy because you are sharing these gifts.
Mm-hmm.
And so, what I love about your energy for me is we both have an open solar plexus. So, half of people are non emotional, half of us are emotional. Linda and I are non emotionals, meaning we are feeling your emotions as you're talking. And when we understand they're not our own emotions, it's information for us on what you need. And so we can absolutely guide you there because we're riding your wave with you. And that's something else I pay attention to is when my client is in a high or a low, they're not ready to make a decision.
No.
Their authority is in the clarity. And so it's okay for us to tell our clients that are emotional that you sleep on your decisions. And for
Mm-hmm.
our clients like us that are sacral, we have a gut instinct. We know, and it's our truth is in the now. So understanding your body and how your body is trying to talk to you
Mm-hmm.
and the superpowers you have. The other side for us though is that we can be very conditioned in our emotional center. We can believe that these emotions are ours. We can
Mm.
be home alone and feel some strong emotions and all of a sudden we think, but really we have quantum entanglement. Once energy has met, we are forever entangled. And so we can still feel, our hearts are constantly talking. So that prayer that you're doing, keep doing it, but shifting from the heart and really sending the energy. I like to send energy back to
Mm.
people. When you bump into someone with bad energy, you realize they need some love, and I need to send
Yeah.
that right back to them. And it allows you to sort of keep, like a white light of protection, because that solar plexus, it is a great superpower, but it
Mm.
is like walking through a wave. And for the emotional people, I don't know how they do it, but they're probably looking at us like, well, how do you do that? Because they wake up sometimes sad, sometimes angry. Linda, you and I wake up the same way
You
every
just wake
morning.
up.
We just wake up. Exactly. So we're the calm in the storm. If like we are the lake that is ready to help guide people. And when you know that, it took me, a long time to finally embrace these gifts. You said 39 years to embrace these gifts. There's something special about that. I just turned 40. I'd say that's, yeah, 38 and a half years maybe for me to embrace these gifts. And we have an inner knowing, but to be able to have the language, I think what human design for me really is language, and you hear what resonates, and then you no longer deny how the Lord has made you.
Exactly. I ran from it. I was like, I don't want
Yeah.
to do this. I don't want to do this. I don't want to be everybody get the dump, because I was negative and I looked at it as, everybody gets their problems solved through me, but nobody's there to solve my problems. And so it became a lonely place and a pity party. And
Mm.
before I understood how awesome it is to be chosen to be that person, like to be selected out of all the people to do what I do, to do this part of my ministry. I love it. I love it now, but that was a time.
Yeah, I love to remind people that we did choose this.
Yeah.
And some of the most comforting things that have come to me from human design. So I'm designed to interact with strangers. So Linda, you need this like deep network of people, like people make or break you. For me, I need to just be bumping into people like you, just like we did in the way that we did through other four
Well,
lines, most likely. So I'm intended to be a stranger of consequence. So, you know, the joke of Jesus having, you know, 12 friends in his 30s is a miracle. Well, Jesus was a 5-1 personality type. So was the founder of human design. And it's true. He needed to go and travel and interact with strangers. And then you hope that you get a few disciples and that one doesn't betray you.
yeah, 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 exactly. That part. That part. Yeah, yeah. Or at
But
least no more than one.
and well, with human design, though, how human design looks at that, there is no good or bad. So, like, one profile isn't better than another. And so, what we would look at is, well, Judas would get a rewrite because Judas had to fulfill a prophecy.
Right.
And so,
Exactly.
his superpower may have been to be so strongly loyal to God that he couldn't see him in front of him. You know, like
Mm,
really looking at we are born into someone else's story.
mm,
And so, in those stories, we are the only culture in America that says, oh, your history must determine why you do things in the future. We're the only culture that does that. No, no, no,
mm,
those are stories. And we're still living in those old stories versus
mm.
looking at, I came down here to have experience. I came down here to share these gifts on earth, but also to go back and share the glory with God. So while I'm on this earth, you know, I'm going to have these experiences so that I can,
Mm,
versus going backwards and trying to figure out, why am I still doing these things? Here's human
mm.
design that says, here's who you are. Let's just be more of it.
Of that. And I think that's the thing. That's the parlay is knowing that okay, you've been this person up to now, and now you're learning human design and you're learning to choose who you really are.
Yeah. And it confirms what you've already known.
Right.
That's what I loved about when I first found it. And it really allowed me to just say, okay, when we say society, we need to participate in society, but we can't live there. It can't tell us what to do. You know, we give so much power away to experts.
Mm-hmm.
You are your own expert. Again, that brings me back to you made in God's image. He gave us that and we need to use it. And so, Linda, some of your gifts that are so beautiful, we also share so we have these channels of energy, and these channels of energy, when they connect, they are like superpowers that just radiate from us when we're just living in alignment and being and doing who we are.
Mm-hmm.
And you have so many fun ones. So I just want to share a few that we have together. The
So you all know
1034. Yes.
So you all know last night we attended a panel together and she talked about some of the things that she had did at the conference that I went to a couple of weeks ago. But by the time I got there, because I had a graduate here in the city, by the time I got out there, I missed that. So last night she was reiterating about some of the things, the pluses from when she was there at the event. And then something in my spirit said, you need to talk to her. And so
Yeah.
I reached out and say, hey, can we talk? Because I just felt like I needed to have a conversation with her.
Yeah. So the 1034 is the G center is where this love just absolutely flows from. And it's a perfect illustration of your life path. You dash in a straight line until you reach your goal.
Pretty much.
You will be called stubborn and selfish. Never mind.
Absolutely.
You just do your thing. It's a very personal energy, and it's there to help you stand on your convictions, to know what is right.
And that's the thing, is always wanting to do what is right. Like, not what's easy, because sometimes what's right is not easy, but I am definitely wanting to do what's right.
Yeah. And so that's a strong sense then of knowing who you are. And so
Mm-hmm.
unlike that open G center who's looking for who will love me, where will I find my purpose, Linda and I have this strong channel. half of it is unconscious for her, half of it is conscious, but she's always had this inner knowing of, call me stubborn, call me selfish, but this is how I'm going to get there. And whatever way I say is correct is going to be correct for me.
Yeah. And
So
then you have people
really,
say, well, you just want to be right. You just want to be right. And I just want to be me.
yeah, absolutely. So judgments is another channel we share, and this is a spleen to root. And so spleen is where the seven fears live, and we both have defined spleens. So we have very access to our intuition. We have very strong access to it at all times. And so our judgments come directly from the spleen, and they are never wrong. And we do have to be careful. It can lead to some conflicts around us.
Oh, yeah.
I love the way that it tells us we are excellent consultants, repairmen, or fixers, or theater critics, but we are terrible friends.
I'm not a good friend. I am not. I want to be. I do. But the thing about it, here's the thing. So I am a good friend in the moment. But outside of the moment, I have too many things going on.
It's true. And part of this channel, we start the process just for the sake of the process. And there's nothing wrong with our intentions. This is really important for us. We can be overcritical, so we do have to be careful that we don't self-criticize. And therefore, our assessments are accurate and our advice is very appropriate and helpful. And so why we're worthless friends is because friends just want you to listen. And we're like, listen, I got your problem solved. Let me tell you how to do this.
Our time is up. I need to go on. I got other people waiting for me.
I know. We got to solve this real quick so that we got to get to the point. We can get on with it.
I have to go. And that's the thing is I find people want me to stay forever. And I can't because I have too much to do. And so that's why I say I'm not a good friend, because I can't hang out forever. I can't. I have other things to do, other people to see, other places to be. And so people don't realize that. They're like, but you're here with me now. Well, stay 5 more minutes. Well, stay 30 more minutes. I'm like, I have to go. They're like, well, you're a friend, you stay. Yeah, I gotta go.
Your other special channel in your head. So my defined head channel is different than yours. Mine is about inspiration. So when you want ideation, you want input, you come to me. For you, your ability to think logically has practical benefits, but you're always looking for the doubt. You're always looking for what could go wrong. So you have to remember 2 rules. Don't fix something that's not yet broken. And you also shouldn't worry about what you're not able to change.
Yeah. So my son named his daughter Serenity after the Serenity prayer. And he used to just quote that, right? And so because of him quoting it all the time, I try to remind myself to change the things I can and then pray about the things I can't.
Yeah, that's a great one for you. As a 5-1, that prayer was on my wall when I was a high school teacher. And my students knew when I walked over and put my hand on the Serenity prayer, they're like, oh, they called me Mama Eades. They're like, Mama Eades is getting upset. And that was, this is also part of human design, is that our actions will always speak louder. Our energy will always speak louder. And so instead of trying to fight what we're feeling, we teach ourselves, there's this idea we have to process emotions. We need to just feel them right now.
Oh yeah.
And
I'm a big component of feeling.
Yeah. And also recognizing that like energetically, like there's something when we're not feeling aligned, there's something happening internally for us. And relationships are our greatest teacher. So the other thing that human design does is opens up an opportunity for you to start seeing yourself through others. When things irritate me about other people, when I'm critical of other people, I'm also aware that there's something internally for me that I'm probably also surfacing, because relationships are how we learn. And when we think of relationships as trauma or relationships that are leaving this imprint, we're missing out on Math was kind of traumatic, but I learned a lot in that process. I learned about perseverance. I learned what my strengths were. I learned what my weaknesses were. I think that's the other part of human design that's so important, is that we can just honor that there's different auras. So Linda and I are both generators. We have a battery that will go, 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 right? But they're 20% of the population are not. They're meant to be valued for what they see, not for what they do. These are the people that need to sit high up and direct our generator energy. And then we have this less than 8% of the population that are manifestors. These folks were the pharaohs back in the day. And now they're very angry about the fact that that's not how the system works anymore. And so their not self is anger. Their true self is peace. And with a manifestor, their aura is almost repelling. They have a direct connection to their throat. And so sometimes what they say rubs people the wrong way. My nephew is a manifestor, and there's 4 little boys, and this one, everyone has been concerned about his anger. Maybe you should have this intervention, maybe that intervention. But really the intervention is just, he's here to inform. So don't ask him questions, inform him. Don't say, did you do your homework? Say, your homework is not finished. Just simply changing the words helps people receive it in the way they're meant to receive. So when we look at, we're here to harness our energy. We're here to direct our energy. We're energetic beings. It takes energy first before we're physicality. We now know the egg has to open up. The sperm isn't actually busting through. There's an energetic spark between them that says we want this to happen. That energy is always interacting. We're here to harness it and to know how to use those gifts.
And so understanding that, though, understanding the people that you interact with in your circle of influence helps to make those relationships better, because like you were just saying, talking to that young man and saying, you didn't finish your homework versus your homework is not done or complete or whatever the language is, understanding that there's a different way to talk, because we already know we learn differently. We already know that. And so just understanding how to communicate to one another better.
Yes. And then there's also how you build a business better. And I'll have to send you those business tools. I know you're going to want to dive in, but looking at, if you have a defined head like you do, well, then people need to pay you for just your ideas, right? People, that
Say
is
it
your,
again, from your mouth to God's ear.
Yes. And 70% of people also have to recognize that, this is how we're meant to energetically work together. If I was to build a company that was truly diverse, I'm going to start looking at human design. I want to look at your auras. I want to look at your centers. What are your superpowers that you bring to the table? And then where would you best be served if we approached companies from that place? And so your family is your company. Your circle of friends is your company. And so when you think of that, I love that I know what my circle of friends are, so I can show up for them.
Yeah.
I know exactly what they need. When a 2-4 is struggling, you remind them they're naturally gifted. They don't need to learn anything. Go work your network.
Go back and work your network. I say that all the time.
Linda. But when Linda says that to me, she is really stifling me. I am a 1 line. I need a strong, solid foundation. I need to research, investigate, and know it for you. And then my 5th line needs strangers to interact with. Those, because when a 5-1 has already helped you, they are no longer necessary, right? Okay. Jesus was a 5-1. What happened to him when they decided it was time for him to go? And what happens for 5-1s, we all have this almost this figurative nailing on the cross that happens for us if we overstay our welcome, if we are trying to work networks versus trying to go out and meet strangers, because that is the network. So what you would do to help a 5-1 is say, well, I have all these strangers you need to meet, and those strangers will introduce us to the next strangers, because 5-1s do have solutions.
Yeah.
And every profile has their own brand. So as a 2-4, your brand is passion, Linda. If you are passionate, people will come. And my brand is solutions. and
Mm.
wisdom. And I didn't know that when I built my brand, but I have an owl for a reason.
Because I was wise.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, I you have a plug for a reason because you are passionate about plugging people
I
in.
am. I am. I
And so even
am.
when you don't know human design, you're living it. This is just more permission for you to lean into it, to let go of whatever's been holding you back from being
Mm.
who you already know that you are. And depending on where you're at in your conditioning, you may even realize, wow, this is an area that I have not even been in touch with. But now that you say that, those memories that stick out 0 to 7, there's a gift
Mhm.
there. Those memories that stick out 8 to 14, that's your emotional intelligence
Mm.
years. And 15 to 21, that's your intelligence years. Your IQ is shaped there. And so knowing these things about yourself just gives you permission to also let go, to accept what is, to love all of the gifts that you have.
I
And as you
love
said,
it.
no more labels and being in a box, but really honoring that our soul is here for a purpose.
Yeah.
And let's show it its path.
I love it. And so we talked about, so you have, and I've included in the description a way for the people who are watching this to connect with you. Like you have a
Yeah,
sneak peek just for the people
I
watching.
do. So I have a book coming out that's going to talk about my superpowers and also show you how to connect to your own through human design. So there's a sneak peek to read that book. Also, since we did just talk last night, I'm going to give you're a 2/4, so I'm going to give 24% off if you want
Ah,
your own human design reading with
I
me.
love it. I
Uh,
love it.
I'll, I'll have a link for you then where you can go and book a human design reading.
Oh, that would be great. That would be great. So someone who's interested, can somebody just jumped off? I'm sure they're going to see that link, that sneak peek. That so someone who's interested, like this is so freeing. Like you are actually understanding your purpose, like while you're here. And what I found was several things that I mentioned, she was like, well, yeah, that aligns with this. And yeah, that aligns with that. And so while you may be doing some of the things um, automatically, like involuntarily, like how much deeper do you want to live your life to the fullest of purpose of why you're here? Like that has to be invaluable.
Yeah, it is life-changing for those 20% that are projectors, those less than 7% that are manifestors. There's also the 1% that are reflectors. I have yet to get to work with one of those. But it's very freeing for people that also have always felt different. So learning about my gate 15 and my love of diversity and how my job is to bring it into flow has been really freeing for me. And diversity for us, also knowing that these are based in DNA. So there's
Mm.
64 codon rings in our DNA. So we're all human race. So there's only 64 strands that we're taking from. And that's been really cool for me to also see. There are definitely threads. I'll say in the 150 readings I've done, I've very small sample size, but there's some trends. And I think those trends we do see in genetics. So if a
Mm.
mom, when you're like, well, I think my son's just like me, yes, you probably have the same personality. I had the same one as my mom, only she was emotional. And I also see trends even in some of the lines. That fourth line of the people person. I see those trends and the friends that I have, and I think also particularly for the African American community, or even broader than that, I'll say the Black community as a whole. There's that fourth line that is a community line, a people line. It's very strong in my
Absolutely.
clients. I see it a lot. And the sixth line, which is inner wisdom, I see that a lot in my clients as well. When you know that you don't get wisdom until you're 30, and then you are innately wise. So you're not here to learn anything from anyone. You are here to tell us what you know.
Mm.
And so it's really also freeing to understand from a human level, this is how we all interact. And this is how your DNA at its full expression
Mm.
and what it looks like to be. That's what I think of when I think of made in God's image, is this DNA. We also know, the moon controls our cycles, ladies. And so there's
Mm.
also this very deep understanding for women is turning away from this conditioning of what I call modern day society, which we all know is coming from Western Europe. So we're not getting Eastern, which part of the human design brings in also Eastern philosophies as well. And all of it also gets back, I love bringing in the Native American traditions and really
Mm.
understanding that when we have disease, we are at dis-ease. When was the last time you stop dancing? When did you stop singing? When did you
Mhm.
stop, right, doing the things that bring you joy?
Mm.
70% of us are here to do things that bring us joy.
Yeah.
And so getting out of this, here's the dysfunction, here's what's wrong with you, and stepping into these are your gifts. It's unbiased. There's no test you take. Let's just take a look and explore and see what comes up for you. And then let's go out now and use this language. When someone wants to hire me, Linda has to just boldly say, I am meant to get paid for my ideas. They are not for me, they are for you.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. I wish I could have the same kind of downloads and pre-information that I get for other people. I'd be rich. But it doesn't work for me. It's not for me. It's
Yeah.
for the people who I serve.
Yeah, it truly is. And that if someone wanted to, like, do I buy from this person? Do I not buy from this person? Like, you would just look at their chart and you would know. You would know where energetically they will be able to offer you something, where it would support you. So friends, they're there to listen. Coaches are there to really like see your soul. And Linda, you're really in tune with that. You have some strong channels that allow you to tune in with people and to really hear them. Right people, right place. You are
I
always
get to hear it. I get
successful.
to hear it all the time. If you look, I have 100 exactly 100 reviews, and if you look at them, you'll see things like she answered my questions that I didn't know I had, or she told me things that she couldn't possibly know because that this is who I am.
Hmm. Yeah, your intuition is strong. I feel like you were a mirror, which is my profile.
Hmm.
I also hear a dot connector. Like, I'm able to take this thing, maybe you said it 3 weeks ago, and this is the thing you said today, and there was this other thing you said last week, and I'm able to bring those together for you.
Mm.
And that's my defined head, because we have different gifts in our defined head.
Hmm.
And if I was able to put that in a resume versus my PhD, here's this thing, here's that thing, right? One of the things I really want to bring is getting away from this expert equals someone else told me this thing.
Yeah.
Right? We want individual free thinkers. We want you to be the expert in you. You want
Hmm.
to, so everyone that you meet is a strategic partner. Your doctor, strategic partner. Sometimes we want to talk to 8 partners before we decide if we want to take their advice. But like, you have this inner knowing.
Yeah.
In human design, for those that have an open spleen, they don't do very well with pharmaceutical grade medicine. They're much
Mm.
better with natural medicine. And so people knowing that about their own health, they may go to a doctor and like feel some particular way. So I had that very strong intuition channel as well. And as a kid, I had terrible acne. No one knew it was dairy, but they wanted me to take this retinol. And for whatever reason, like, I used it once and I didn't want to do it. Well,
Mm.
it turns out if you have a soy allergy, it causes cancer.
Mm.
I have a soy allergy. Like, there was some intuition that said, I don't want this, even though I very much did not want to have this cystic acne. And then as soon as my diet cleared up, I cleared up. So we know these things. Weird intuition I had today. I was trying to decide what earrings to wear. We were going to meet Dan's family, and I had these dangly ones in. I put the sun in. I was looking at them, and then I pick up the bees. And I was like, yep, those are the ones. I have no idea why. But as we're sitting there at brunch, one of the girls were like, oh, I love your earrings. We love bees. Like, I just knew, like, that because when I dress for the people I'm showing up for. I'm not dressed like that's part of my profile. I'm like,
Okay.
I want to
Okay.
be comfortable, but like, I'll have a little accessory for someone else.
Yeah.
And so that intuition, that inner knowing,
It's relatable. Yeah.
you've talked about that in bigger situations, driving. And I've had that too, where I'm like, why did I go in this lane? I'm supposed to be over there. And literally a car crash
Mm-hmm.
happens right in front of me. And I just talked to a client earlier that week about practicing intuition. And like, I never walk the same way twice.
Mm.
When I lived in Hoboken, it's 1 square mile. You know, you can just take the same square route every morning. And if you ask me, well, why did you decide to turn here or there, like on whatever day? I have no idea. No idea. But when you walk certain ways, you run into certain people. When you walk other ways, you run into other ways. Like the only time I ever, like it's that small of a town. Everyone knew who I was.
Mm-hmm.
So when we start to like lean into things that we really know, even though modern, we talk about science, but we are science experiments, experimenting with yourself.
Mm-hmm.
You see it, and then you start to say, okay, let me try more of that.
I like it. I like it. So as we wrap up, I'm going to give you an opportunity to talk to your audience, the people who are watching this, the ones who are saying, I wonder what my purpose is. Like the whole people, I'm going to give you the opportunity to spend a few minutes just telling them why they should really, really
Oh no.
I'm still here.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what, if you were listening and you were wondering what your purpose is, there's a solid chance you're an Open G Center and you don't have one and you're not meant to have one. So, but if you are looking to get a little bit more grounding and insight into who you are, to really embrace it, also to let go of conditioning and to even recognize where you will be available for conditioning. Or if you're a parent and you want to be a good shepherd, which is what we're here to do, we're here to pick the pastures that our kids will be best raised in. And knowing their type and strategy and their profile helps you help them guide them along their way and pick those right pastures. So if that speaks to you and you want to take the 24% off for a reading, you go to bit.ly, it's a bit.ly link, bit.ly/biz, B-I-Z, plug, P-L-U-G in all caps.
Bit.ly. What's the rest?
/BIZPLUG.
Got it. So there is the link. So if
Yeah.
you're ready to find out what your purpose is, if you've been feeling, and that's the thing is before people make that commitment, it's been on their mind. Like it resonates because when timing is right, when the solution comes, like you're already ready for it. And so
It's
that
true.
is that is the link to connect.
You'll need a code. I'm sorry. The code is BizPlug, all caps. That'll get you the 24. BizPlug. And that I'm gonna leave that. You find this podcast 3 years from now. That link will still, if the link still works, the code still works. All right. This
There
one's
you
for
are.
you. Yeah.
There it is. And so people they watch it in their own time, but somebody that will watch this is going to feel like she's talking to me. Because again, before the solution comes, your mind is already preparing you to receive it. And I love that.
Absolutely. And if you're sitting at home listening, you can go to myhumandesign.com to get your own chart, or Jovian Archive, which is the founder's website.com to get your own chart. It's a hard one to understand fully and read, hence why I do the readings. And in the reading it is really catered to your powers. So
Mm.
I like to give a high level look at your personality is lovely, but that is your avatar, right? The superpowers, the energy that you're here to emote in the world, that's what we want more of.
Yes, we do. Well, so thank you for your yes. I thank you for spending time because you're traveling, and I especially thank you for coming on and and helping us to learn more about human design. My name is Linda Murray Bullard. They call me the business plug. I just plugged you into Katie and human design. You all have a great week. I'll see you next Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern. Have a great week, you all. Bye bye.